So over a 25-year period, I've gone through a number of chapters of being misaligned and being aligned. And I want to share them with you because I want to share the importance of what it takes to come out of that drift, come out of a state of misalignment where you're living your life limited by what you think you can achieve and the fulfillment and happiness that you can have as a businessman, a leader, a founder, high performer, father or husband, and go out there and align yourself to find your edge and build your mission and live your legacy. So I'm going to take you all the way back to 1999 when I was a labourer. I was earning about £5 an hour and I had to drive for about an hour to open up the building site, get everything prepared, start smashing in pickets, moving around bricks, and just doing general labouring jobs. It was unfulfilling, it was unrewarding, and I remember feeling the pain of being stuck in some form of rut and not really knowing where my life was going. Now, I was only 18 at the time, and it was very young, but I do remember the pain of feeling that misalignment. And I toyed with the opportunity of making a huge change. And I was thinking about relearning, re-educating myself and going back to college. And that's exactly what I done. And I remember when I left that building site midway through the day, said my goodbyes, and everyone saying to me I was doing the right thing. I remember going to the petrol station, filling up, thinking, man, I feel free. I feel energized. I feel emotionally charged. And that was the first time really, I think in my life that I really felt like I had the edge and I felt like I was going to build a mission. So between 1999 and 2001 was my chapter 1. And it's where I re-educated myself in hospitality and catering management. It was a high-level course and I managed to go through those 2 years and really throw everything in, getting A stars right across the mark. During those 2 years, I demanded more for myself. I learned more about myself. I was more structured with my assignment time and building money at the same time on the side. I was living in my own flat and I was looking after myself, and I actually felt like I was achieving, I was progressing. I felt like there was a future for myself. Then along came chapter 2. Chapter 2 was a really exciting chapter because I suddenly took all of that training from the 2 years and I implemented them in my first proper career. Now, when I left, I joined 200 applicants to apply for a fast-track management scheme with McDonald's. And that meant that would take me from an assistant manager to a store manager in a very quick period of time. I was the only person to be employed. I felt really confident, and that showed within the first year of me running my own store. We were taking 6 million. I was looking after nearly 100 different staff, and I was responsible for the running and smooth operations. And from the outside, looking in, it would look like I had made it. We were earning really good money. I had a company car. I had built up a reputation of being a really good manager. We were running really good profits at such a young age. And to think that only 2 years ago, I was labouring. But this is where the catch lies. I felt hollow, empty. And at the end of each shift, I would drive home and consistently ask myself, is this it? Is this as good as it's going to get? I felt completely misaligned until I watched a film. The film that I watched was Black Hawk Down. And what I saw was a camaraderie, was a brotherhood, was an environment, was somewhere where that I felt I was going to be challenged, and it felt like somewhere I was going to belong. And just before that film started, there was an advert for the Royal Marines. And I instantly fell in love with that advert. I instantly fell in love with what it stood for, what the challenge was, and the call out. Here's where chapter 3 enters. I dropped everything, my career, my partner, my marriage, everything. And over 18 months, I went through an application process to go and join the Royal Marines because I felt that strongly about it. I felt so aligned to its values, to what it stood for, and what I thought it was going to do for me within my life. And I wasn't disappointed. The chapter that takes me from 2003 to 2011 was an exciting one. I had my first 2 children. I got married. We had an amazing marriage quarters. I was earning really good money. I was making really good progress in my career. It is one of the best chapters of my life. How could there possibly be any misalignment? Well, it came in the shape of me wanting more to be a father. My wife and my children had moved home, and I was doing 700-mile round trips every single weekend to get a day and a half with them. And sometimes that day and a half might have been all I've got in a month, depending on what operations or training were going on in the military. The military no longer belonged in my life as much as I loved it. And I had to make the very difficult decision to leave the military and move home so that I could be more of a present father. That is something more that I wanted to align to. Enter chapter 4, the most difficult period of my life ever. I came home to be with my family, and within 3 years, I was divorced, seeing the kids only half the week, drinking every single day, and almost got to the point where I took my own life. I was minutes away from making that decision. I was working as a college lecturer, which did not give me any fulfillment, zero. And from the very start, for 3 years, I felt misaligned. My only shining star was the side hustle that I had going on, where I was doing PT and fitness circuits on the side and taking the experience of me being a physical training instructor in the Marines and implementing that to earn some extra cash, where we'd taken a huge wage drop from leaving the military. The years between 2013 and 2020, I developed and built my business, which was a fitness bootcamp. This was the biggest game changer that I really think I've gone through. I had to learn how to run a business, had to go through some of the biggest, hardest lessons of my life. But it also was some of the most rewarding. As my third child was born, I met the love of my life. I spent more time developing myself, re-engaging myself, finding a new identity, seeing where I belonged in this planet, in this world. And what I didn't realize is that I was building a mission. I was living a legacy. Around 2017 is when I started to get interested in working online. I wrote 2 best-selling books, Remember the Mission and It's a State of Mind. And I started to ask the question, do I still want to be a fitness instructor? Do I still want to be working early mornings? Do I still want to be working at lunchtimes? Do I still want to be working in the evening? Do I still want to be doing all these hours whilst I have a newborn that I want to be a part of? And suddenly I felt misaligned. The misalignment was that I wanted more freedom within my role. I wanted to be able to serve people, but live life on my terms. So in 2020, when COVID hit, I made the very difficult decision to say goodbye to Body Shop Fitness, my fitness bootcamp, my family of 7 years. The thing that had saved me, built me, and grew me to the point now I was ready to take on a new challenge and help men online re-establish their identity, their edge, and build their mission to live out their legacy. And for the last 5 years, we've done that. We've moved into the home of our dreams. I had my 4th child, Darcy. We introduced podcasts, seminars, coaching programs, and now we're at the point where we're now working with corporate leadership teams, building out a mission command app, building out a mission control clothing company, and we're going all in. And the last 25 years have taught me that if you feel misaligned, you will drift. And if you drift, you will feel unfulfilled and you will not live the life that you are looking to live. I've learned those lessons and I've combated them by changing and shifting the direction of my life. Some have been very, very difficult emotional decisions. But ultimately, if we do not shift the alignment in our life, we will stay the same. If your gut, if you feel that hollow part right here telling you that something is not right, that there is more to give, that there is another direction, it's more than likely than there is. And you only really have that one opportunity in this life to make the most of it and fulfill yourself. If you listen to Steve right here, he talks about reinventing himself through his hardest times. And if you feel like you need to find your edge and you're misaligned and you want to get back to that alignment, to that happiness, then click on my description, go to my Instagram page and DM the word ready and we will see if you're a good fit. Remember, you've only got one chance at this. Don't stay misaligned for the rest of your life.